What's up, everyone? This is day 24 of 31 days through Ezekiel and Daniel. Daniel chapter 4 showed a king who was warned, humbled, and restored. Daniel chapter 5 presents a different outcome, a king who is weighed, exposed, and judged. Belshazzar the king made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine in the presence of the 1,000, Daniel 5 and 1. The setting is indulgent, excessive, and deliberately public. This is not merely a banquet. It is a display of confidence. Babylon appears secure. Authority appears unquestioned. The atmosphere is celebratory, but beneath the surface, there is a deeper issue unfolding, not political, but spiritual. While he tasted the wine, Belshazzar gave the command to bring the gold and silver vessels that the king and his lords might drink from them. Daniel 5 and 2. These are not ordinary objects. They are vessels taken from the house of God in Jerusalem. Sacred items, once set apart for worship, are now repurposed for entertainment. This is not ignorance, it is irreverence. As Matthew Henry observes, when what is holy is treated as common, it is not merely a lapse in judgment. It is a direct dishonor toward God and God himself. Belshazzar is not simply celebrating, he is desecrating. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze and iron, wood and stone, Daniel 5 and 4. The contrast is intentional. The vessels of the true God are used while false gods are exalted. What was meant to honor God is now fueling idolatry. And then, without warning, the atmosphere shifts. In the same hour, the fingers of a man's hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall, Daniel 5 and 5. The interruption is immediate and undeniable. No gradual transition, no subtle hint. Divine confrontation enters the room uninvited. The king's countenance changed, and his knees knocked against each other, Daniel 5 and 6. Confidence collapses in a moment. What seems stable proves fragile when exposed to the reality of God. As A.W. Tozer wrote, the human response to God's holiness is never casual. When he reveals himself, illusion cannot remain intact. The room has not changed, but perception has. Belshazzar calls for interpretation. The wise men are summoned, but once again, they cannot discern what has been written. Human insight proves insufficient when divine judgment is being declared. Then Daniel is brought in. His reputation precedes him, not because of position, but because of consistency. There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy God, Daniel 5 and 11. Daniel has outlasted administrations because his foundation was never tied to them. The king offers reward, gold, authority, influence. But Daniel answers with clarity. Let your gifts be for yourself. Yet I will read the writing to the king, Daniel 5:17. He will speak truth without being shaped by incentive. Integrity cannot be purchased. Before interpreting the writing, Daniel does something critical. He reminds the king of history. He recounts Nebuchadnezzar's humbling. The warning had already been given in a previous generation. But you, his son Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, although you knew all this. Daniel 5:22. This is the difference. Nebuchadnezzar was ignorant until he was confronted. Belshazzar was aware and remained unchanged. As Matthew Henry notes, accountability increases where knowledge is present. To know truth and ignore it is to deepen responsibility. Daniel continues, you have lifted yourself up against the Lord of heaven, and the God who holds your breath in his hand, you have not glorified. Daniel 5:23. This is the core issue. Every breath is sustained by God. Every moment is held by him. And yet the king lives as though he is self-sustaining. Then comes the interpretation. Many, many tekel upharsin. God has numbered your kingdom and finished it, Daniel 5:26. You have been weighed in the balances and found wanting, Daniel 5:27. Your kingdom has been divided and given to the Medes and Persians, Daniel 5:28. The language is final, not corrective, conclusive. John Bevere teaches that when the fear of the Lord is consistently rejected, there comes a point where warning gives way to judgment. Belshazzar has crossed that threshold. And then, almost quietly, the chapter ends. That very night, Belshazzar was slain, Daniel 5:30. No extended battle, no prolonged decline, just the conclusion. What appeared unshakable collapses in a single night. And this is the sobering thread of Daniel 5. Revelation ignored becomes judgment intensified. Sacred things mishandled expose the condition of the heart. And time does not erase accountability, it confirms it. So the reflection becomes unavoidable. Where has familiarity with God replaced reverence for Him? Where has truth been known but not obeyed? Where have sacred things been treated casually? Because the writing on the wall is not merely about a king long ago, it is about the reality that God sees, God weighs, and God responds. And unlike Belshazzar, we are given the opportunity to respond before the conclusion is written.